The one question that is going to be most useful for you to answer in this post apocalyptic mega merger real estate world is this one. What problem are you wired to solve, but you have not operationalized it yet? Let's talk about it. Welcome to January, right? It's off to quite a spicy little start, isn't it? As if we didn't have enough going on in a normal, boring market. We've got all sorts of changes and a lot of people saying a lot of different things. And I just get the sense that most are feeling a little off center, whether you're an agent or a broker. If that's you, take a deep breath. Everything's going to be okay. We are built for change, and this is just another one. So this is going to feel a little grounding but perhaps a little challenging, especially if you're a broker. And I don't mean to put brokers on the spot, but you're going to feel a little called out. But agents have been in this muck. We've just been living there a little longer than you. So in this post-apocalyptic mega merger, mega firm world we all now live in, the reality is that consolidation is probably going to continue. And I get it. This is about survival. And look, I'm just happy that we all have an industry we care about, that we care enough about to make better so that we become invaluable, more valuable than we already are to the consumers who it matters most for. However, this means we're going to have to get comfortable with change. And a lot of people scratch that. A lot of training has gotten away with not going too deep. And that was unacceptable to me. So rather than complain, because nobody likes somebody who just complains about something, if you're going to complain, okay, if not that, then what? So in a world where we cannot be copy and paste, we need to change. We need to change some training. And brokers and owners, more so owners, sort of having the kind of view that I do not. The owners in the industry who are dealing with these mergers and acquisitions, those owners have this wonderful sweeping 360 view that I think they can really apply and make some directional shifts now. I hope that happens. From my perspective, the agent on the ground working with agents, the problem that has been amplified today due to the level of sameness that we are now going to all feel and see, that level of sameness, I couldn't stand not answering that years ago. So coming up with a way to answer the call of, yeah, why should somebody hire me? And coming up with answers to those questions are now in the brokers and owners' laps. Yeah, if all the tools and training are the same across all the platforms, like in my market, 30 to 50% of agents now have a choice of where to go, and they look across the platforms. What's different about you? These should feel like deeper questions, challenging questions, questions that need an answer sooner than later. Otherwise, I fear for my brokers and my owners who are not going to have great answers for agents like me looking for the answer, the deeper answer to why should I mingle here? What's the benefit? And most brokers, when asked this question or when we talk about it, most of them say, well, it's our culture. Love that answer. Great. Tell me more. What is it about your culture? And when you try to articulate that answer, just like an agent has to articulate their value, a broker now has to articulate, what is your culture? What is different about your training? Just those two questions. What is different about your training? What is different about your culture? If you can really articulate that in a way that matters to an agent, in a way that they understand how that helps them or serves them, ooh, you are going to be a recruiting machine, because those are the answers that agents are going to be looking for. And as of late or currently, or a lot of what I've seen over the last few years, it's that it's a lot of copy and paste. I get it. A lot of training is copy and paste. A lot of training is say this way at this time. Let me tell you the problem with that. The problem with that copy and paste or say this training, it leaves your agents borrowing certainty and confidence rather than actually building it for themselves. And then they're in a situation that's live. You're not there. The book isn't there. The script isn't there. They've got to have some confidence in what they're saying, why they're saying it. And that's going to take a different style of training. Instead of coaching up deal makers or deal chasers, we are coaching up deep thinkers that can think clearly and quickly. That is a different style of training rather than cheerleading the amount of contacts or relationships you have. That is different. That takes a confidence in, yeah, what is it that I bring to the table? What am I willing to defend? What is my value? Or, brokers, what is my culture? What am I defending? Who do I hire? These are incredibly important questions to have answers to today. It's going to help you move from having you're a salesperson conversation, you're selling, to you are a solver. We're going to move from selling to solving. These are the problems you solve naturally really well. That is a different sort of conversation and training platform. That leaves an agent and a broker with a lot more confidence in what they're offering. So whether it's a recruitment conversation or a conversation with a customer for an agent, this sort of foundational shift is really what I'm secretly happy about. Is it wrong? Is it wrong? It might be wrong. It might be wrong that is the subtext of this consolidation in the industry, the Sitzer-Burnett lawsuit, all of the fallout, all of the upheaval. I'm secretly happy because it's becoming a forcing function for people to have to level up and decide, am I a salesperson or do I solve people's problems? Those are two different presentations. Those are two different training mechanisms. And those are two different cultures, right? So make sure that you can articulate and clarify. If you're a broker, make sure you can articulate and clarify what your culture means. Make sure you can explain that. Not in a way that builds your confidence, but in a way that would build a recruitee's confidence. And the best way I can tell you to start with this, brokers, is to look at the truth. Start this way with agents too. We have to look at the truth. We have to look back at what is true. What is the truth about you? So, and it's a nice little paradigm shift in the identity world, in identity ops world. Where we start is not with what to say. We start with who you are. We start with the truth. We got to build you a strong foundation of truth. Because here's what happens. That confidence I mentioned at the very top, when we can look at your past and we can see what you've actually built or what you've actually done, that gives you the confidence to look back, point to specific things, people, events, stories, whether it's in business or out of business, and say, yeah, that is who I am. Yeah, that is what we do here. That is a much different foundation than cheerleading. How many people do you know? Go out there and just volunteer and be seen. Those are two wildly different cultures. Now, I say all that, right? And you have to double back and you say, or I have to say, I get it. One way is simplistic. It is easier to scale. The other takes time and conversation, one-on-one. It takes some thoughtful and some in-depth thinking. That is a choice. So maybe the best thing I can offer you today is to just make that decision. Because if you just make that one decision, am I going to stay topical with my training? Am I going to stay with selling as my training? Okay, then we know what direction we're pushing in. You know what to offer. You know what you don't offer. You know those recruiting conversations you can have. And agents, if you're selling and you like that style of real estate, then you know what your job is tomorrow, right? You know your job is to wake up, get on the phone, write those notes, be as seen as possible, and really lean more towards the advertising world. On the other hand, if you are tired of being the copy of somebody else and you just can't do it another year, you, my friends, now have an option. It's identity-based real estate. You can find it over at identityops.co. It is now live. You can also just go to Substack. I've been writing there for quite some time. You can go there for free, read the archive. You will pick up some very key things you can do today on your own. No gatekeeping. Go there and read. Because I believe that if you just start making these choices, am I selling or am I solving? Then your job of either as a broker, what you're training, or your job, if you're an agent, what your job is today with consumers, boy, it starts to crystallize and clarify what you need to do today, what your plan should be like. Are you leaning towards the marketing and advertising world, or are you leaning more towards the marketing and brand sort of world? These are two very different worlds, my friends. So let me leave you with the question one more time. What problem are you wired to solve? And if you have not operationalized it yet, why not? That's the magic. Okay, so if you can't answer that question, just start thinking about it. And if you need more help with that, go to identityops.co, subscribe to Substack, reach out if you need help, because I think starting with these kinds of questions, clarifying what kind of business are you running? This is going to help our whole industry level up. And brokers, not for nothing, but I believe that this kind of training is your next competitive edge. And if I'm wrong, tell me. Tell me what your next competitive edge is now. Given all the consolidation, given everything that's coming down the pike, why should an agent choose you? What do you offer inside your four walls that's going to be the draw? I think it's your training. I will leave it there. We will be back next week.